Nobody can help you except when the person sees how visionary you are, how prepared you are.
Welcome once again to another episode on Noble TV Live. My name is Algo Valentine, and with me on set today is Dr. Chidi Peters.
Yeah, Valentine, looking brighter today.
I was going to say that about you.
Greetings to you.
I was going to say that about you too. Welcome again on set.
Thank you very much.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about unemployment and how it's related to poverty in Africa, with Nigeria as a case study. The rate of unemployment in Nigeria, for instance, are we going to use that as the major cause of poverty in Nigeria?
When you talk about poverty in Africa and bring it down to Nigeria, poverty in this part of the world is as old as this part of the world, that is Africa, and Nigeria to specific. Poverty is synonymous to Nigeria, it's synonymous to the African continent. And of course, it's a generational issue that have continued to eat deep into our fabric and into every part of us. When you talk about poverty, you not talk about material poverty, talk about health poverty, talk about administrative poverty, talk about intellectual poverty, talk about poverty in all ramifications. These are being that has continued to drag us far below developing nations. Far below even third world country, because we are saying about third world country is measured by the statistics and yardstick of development. But here you are, where as a third world country, looking at it from every yardstick, we're not even qualified to be in third world country, because the development we're having is not equal to the resources that's or revenue or the mineral resources that comes out from this region, whereby beneath the belly of Nigeria, you have a lot of mineral resources, ranging from oil to gold to litmus, a lot of them. And here you are, to diamond in Africa, to rubber, to everything in Nigeria precisely, and yet we are embedded in poverty. And something in Kenya, where raw materials used for production of battery, foam battery, electric cars, and so on and so forth, and yet that is the cobalt, yet they are engulfed in poverty. So it's only few people that have tried to see how they can break the chains and the shackles of poverty to move ahead, and this number are very, very minimal.
Now, someone once said that poverty is beyond the absence of cash. That when you don't have physical cash, it doesn't make you poor.
Exactly, that's what I say. We have the material poverty, we have the mental poverty, we have the health poverty.
So, but the most dominant one that's being classified as poverty is the lack of meeting, the inability to meet your essential needs when you need to, or even the basic needs, you don't have the resources to meet them. Now, a lot of people go through this very particular stage, be the absence of material things, for comfort and for security and for well-being. Now, what would you say could be an escape from poverty despite the unemployment rates we have in Nigeria as a case study?
Yeah, you are correct when you say in Africa, in Nigeria to be precise, we measure poverty by the number of or amount of money you have in your bank accounts. Yes. We measured poverty by the number of cars able to drive. That is why we have a lot of our graduates who sit back at home waiting for greener pastures, waiting for manna to fall just on their foot, and it's not forthcoming. When we want to break from the shackles of poverty, it means we need a lot of mental exercise. It goes beyond what you have in the presence, and it goes beyond being futuristic. You have to be very realistic in your vision, in your mission. You have to be very creative, and you have to be persistent, and you have to persevere if you want to progress. If success is about, it's a progression. But whereby you are a graduate of, for example, now of economics, and yet you don't have job, or you are offering you a job, and I say, let me tell you, when I finished my university, then the NYSC there was paying 7,000, as the case may be. and I got a job to work for 3,000 naira. And I had my colleague who said, no, we can't work. Oh. They left to their various places. And since that time till now, a lot of them are still unemployed. But I picked the job of 3,000 and start progressing from there. So that means you must start from somewhere. It doesn't matter what I've been paid. Sometimes you should sit back and read the stories of some of these successful business people, some of these successive entrepreneurs. A lot of them, they do not see the 4 walls of the university, yet they are successful. Let me give you the story of GUO, that where I interviewed him. He said, after the war, a lot of things were destroyed, and that they used to have a shop in Onitsha by his father, and everything was destroyed. So what they did after the war was to begin to see how they can begin to loot poultry, fowl, and goats. But now he now told him, let him drive his father's vehicle to go to Onitsha, to go and see the state of what has happened. On getting there, that he saw passengers that want to go back to Enugu, and they have no means. So he looked at his car that was fuel. He now packed the passengers, went and dropped them in Enugu, and he made some money. This is after the war. Then he now brought other passengers back and made some money. This was how he entered into transportation immediately after the war. As he progresses, he now begins to diversify, begin to see how the opportunity in transportation. Now, when you are talking about transport magnets in Africa, I think you should mention number 1.
Yes.
Now, you read the story of Kocharis, who said that from Akarasela to going to serve his uncle, who could not able to settle him well, and who, when he started that, he was even squatting to the point that landlord used to come and harass him for shop rents and house rents, to the point that he wedded his wife and in a motorcycle and also left wife and her father's house to go and live for greener pasture. Today, as far as automobile is concerned in Africa and in Nigeria, you must call Kocharis. When you talk about Chisco Motors, the same thing. When you talk about Inos, how did they start? The same story. So they try to break down shackle by being creative. Inos Motor did not enter into motor now. It was successful from chemists to motorcycle, to coupling of motorcycle, to the Kena Pep, now to vehicle. Ibeto, that you know very well, from photographer to photo lab, then to petrochemical, to other things that he does today, to cement, to eBay, to allied and whatever, importation of rice, and pharmaceutical company, and pharmaceutical products. So when you look at successful people in Nigeria, you now look at that beginning. Pick their books, pick their interview, read them, and get inspired. You should go beyond sitting back and looking for government opportunity to be a government worker. And when you go to government work, you keep complaining. You should go beyond looking for your uncle to recommend you to his friend to give you work. It should have to do with your mental capacity to think beyond the present and see how you can start a little beginning. Before you know it, of course, it's going to be something else. Of course, let me also mention the Obi Kubana. He told us his story. That when he finished from school, there was no work. He now went and become a bar attendant in Abuja. From there, today, when you talk about some basic brand of wine and whiskey and brandy, you talk about him in Nigeria. Of course, beyond Nigeria, he's doing well. And he's diversifying.
Yeah.
So the problem is, people say that they're looking for opportunity. Nobody can help you except when the person sees how visionary you are, how prepared you are.
So basically, it's right to say that success is actually beyond merely opportunity meeting with preparation. You could also say prompt initiative, because from your own story and others, you could see that they actually didn't just prepare and got the opportunity. They also took initiative to commence some of these things that pioneered their journey to where they ended up at the end of the day. So now, how would you communicate this to the Nigerian youth today with the high rate of unemployment out there? A lot of young people are now going into drugs, into 419, into lots of dubious acts just to make money without going through the process anymore. How would you encourage them to know how to know an opportunity, how to prepare for that opportunity, and how to be proactive, to have a prompt initiative attitude when in creating your own wealth?
Let me give you some stories that might interest you. Engineer Dr. Ajo Zodike, who is the CEO of Cotis PLC, when his son finished BSc, upon all the wealth, he brought the son back into the factory to come and be a laborer and know what is happening.
Wow.
In the coupling section, the aluminum coupling section. And the guy was there for 2 years before he went for his master's. Odi Chuma in Nnewi, when the son finished university, he brought him back home to come and help in loading and offloading and learn the business that he was doing. A graduate before he went out for his master's. Ngobros, the same thing. To learn the trade before they want to proceed to masters. Imam Boeman and Nnewi, former Nasport chairman, the same thing. So when you are talking about that, you're not talking about being grounded in something first. Ordinarily, as a wealthy people, they shall buy their children big cars and exotic cars to flex around town. Peter Obi told you that his daughter was the primary school teacher in a school in Onitsha. You adopted it. She was there for more than 9 years. Peter was telling you that son does not have a car. You're adopting him. Truly, he has no car. So now our youth now that we have seen is anybody that made 500,000. Two things come to his mind. One, to go and buy the most expensive jean trouser and clothes. Two, to go and carry the most expensive woman, lodge in the most expensive hotel. If by peradventure, the money is up to 1.5 million to go and buy a car.
Exactly.
we tell us about the maintenance. So these are what we see because they are not prepared to handle that financial statement or that intellectual statement. So they need to come back home and in their own begin to initiate a concept, an idea. Put yourself in a shoe. Assuming I'm not a graduate, what do I do? Some people say, I cannot drive keke, I'm a graduate. But you have had people who are graduates who took keke higher purchase, drive keke, and now they have more than 10 keke running for them on the road.
Very true.
We have them. So whatever you are doing, you know, our people, like when I was growing up, my mother would tell you, number one rule, a man doesn't look at the mirror. Let a woman leave mirror. A man doesn't rub powder. Leave powder. A man doesn't rub cream. Leave cream. A man doesn't put comb on his pocket and be comb himself all the time.
Interesting.
Rule number 7. A man doesn't walk sluggishly.
A man doesn't walk fast.
The number 7. The man is not ashamed of what he does to make money. Genuinely.
Yeah, that's legally.
Whatever you are doing to make money, legally and genuinely, don't be ashamed of it. So these are the rules. And we abide by that rule.
Interesting set of rules. Interesting set of rules.
You wake up as a young man, you're rubbing powder, rubbing cream, selecting cream in the what are you doing for? You soon come and comb in your hair.
So you're basically saying that our Nigerian youths are actually are you supporting what
many of our Nigerian
president youth said about Nigerian youth?
No. I'm not saying that lazy. We have talented Nigerian youth. We have youth who are doing well. Why I'm saying this is I want to spur and of course pick those our youths who does stay back and say there's no work anywhere. My brother, wake up, rise up, create something on your own. You can make it. Put yourself that you didn't go to school. Would you be doing something? Then set a target for yourself in life. Say in the next 2 years, next 3 years, this is the target I want to be. Make contact with people that will inspire you. Don't make contact with your fellow Igbo smokers because they will end up smoking Igbo. Make contact with people that will change your life. Read stories about people. When you hear about GUO, hear about Odi Chuma, hear about Innocent, pick up their book and interviews on the internet and see how they started. You can start your own, my brother. That's how life begins.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Peters. Man, Dr. Peters has already hit every single nail on the head. And there's absolutely nothing for me to use as an outro right now. So you've heard everything he said. Please take heed to every single advice he gave as his closing statement. And make sure it's success is not far-fetched. It's not impossible for you to hold on to and to enjoy. All you need to do is start now. All right, basically, Just start now.
And the road to success is too rough.
Yes, so because you have to go through. You have to go through the furnace.
It's like the gold. It's like the gold.
Yeah, before you come out shining. All right, so you have to endure that process.
Yes, of course.
All right, you must endure that process. All right, so we've heard a lot from Dr. Peters. Thank you very much. Always good having you on set. It's always very enlightening listening to you and hearing you talk to us about a lot of things that you have inside of you. So please, from us, Global TV, don't forget to like, share, drop your comments, and most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.